that for you here in Desmos, and then I'll snip it in,
Sure.
and then we can talk about how would you do it by hand
Okay.
otherwise. So let me grab a snip of this. All right, so the graph looks like this, and let me actually bring it up in here. So the issue is that the logarithm, you can't take the logarithm of a negative number. Do you generally set the inside part greater than 0? If you have to do it for both, okay? Now, the other thing here, though, is that, um, well, let's just do this. So this is, when you solve this, you get x greater than 7/3, like that. And the vertical asymptote here is 7/3. So that is the answer. I mean, like normally you would try to set this greater than 0, but x squared plus 2 is always greater than 0. The
Yeah.
reason is because x squared is always greater than -2, so you don't have to worry about that. So x, so this is weird. So x cannot be, so they want to know the excluded values. So it's x cannot be less than or equal to 7/3. The reason it's that one is because it's basically the flip of this. Rather than it being greater than, it would be a less than or equal to
Okay.
situation when you flip it.
And then to put this graph onto the decimals, do you just enter the formula, like the log,
Yes.
you put that in, and it'll just graph it
So
for you?
I used ln, but it actually is exactly the same, just because it's one less letter to write. So I used ln and log. Like it actually doesn't matter what you use. They give you
Okay,
the same.
ln.
Yeah, and
ln
you
and
use
the
ln
log is this one.
or log, they give you the same thing.
Okay.
Which you might wonder why. That's a different question for a different time.
Okay.
So the upload. This one is very much straightforward. Basically, you're putting the value of t into this equation here. So they're saying you start out with $300, it's 6% interest, and after 3 years, you're putting 3 in for t, like that. So let me grab my calculator, do the calculation here. And that's 357.30.
That's all it does. You just plug that in right into the power.
That's it. That's it. I guess you don't need that $sign, so just that round to the nearest cent. Hopefully these are looking similar to problems you've seen previously.
Yeah, it is. This is
That's
pretty much a
always a
review. Yeah.
good sign. You don't want to. I have had students say, "I've never seen this before," and
Yeah.
they actually were right. Like they wasn't on the previous assignment. So
Actually, I haven't seen this one. Now that you said that, you just jinxed me.
yeah. Busy person goes to draw a clock. Um, all right. This yeah, might need to consult the internet for this one. The idea here is that when the clock goes to 121, we know it's at least 121. Okay.
Right,
Um, but it could be 121 and 59 seconds.
right,
Same thing for here though, is that it's either 129 or it's 129 and 59 seconds. So it's kind of like best case, worst case. So meaning like what's the most extreme possibilities? Well, it just turned 121 and then it's 129.59. So that's 8 minutes and 59 seconds, basically all the way up to almost 9 minutes. Worst case is it's 121.59 and then it goes to 129. So that's 7 minutes and 1 second. Or I guess right. I'm sorry. Zero, zero. I guess it's right. Sorry. I'm doing this wrong. 0, 0. That's right. Um, so it's like anywhere from 7 to 9, but not including the endpoints. Does that make does that make
so
sense?
not meaning like 129 on the dot or
Yeah.
129.59.
Yeah. Like it doesn't, we know it's not 130, but it's right up to 130. I mean, it's 59.99999,
Right.
right? And it's 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, but we don't know exactly where. So it is this letter A. This is actually a good question. Because it like we don't really think about time being, we always think of it as like, oh, it's an exact time, but it's really always a range.
So 7. See if I can find that sign. T greater than 9. Or less than.
Got it. It's uploading. That's the given equation. Is there any way to, there is this have to be full screen, this pictures you're sending. If you anyway make them like half, it would help quite a bit. Um, if not, that's okay.
How do you make it half? Like, what do you mean?
Like not the picture, the window being like halfway across the screen.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Uh, it's because it like this stuff butts up from the right there, and I actually can't.
Oh, I see what you're
Wait,
saying.
I guess it's an S over N. Okay. So they're telling you um figure out the channel capacity C. And so you need to know the value of B, S and N. So B is the bandwidth in megahertz. So B is 16. The S is the signal to noise ratio, 6.5. And I'm sorry, S over N is 6.5. So that this whole ratio is 6.5. So that's what they're trying to
Okay.
say there. So we've got C equals 16 log base 2, 1 plus 6.5, like that. And then it says type your answer using the appropriate number of significant digits. Okay. So 16.0 has 3 significant digits. This says 3 significant digits, significant figures. So our answer needs to have 3 significant figures. Right? Like we're um ooh, so my Desmos scientific calculator does not have that capability, so I have to do it another way, which is fine. All right, so I got 46.5. Thing is, I don't know if that's reasonable or not, because I don't know this. I don't know Shannon-Hartley law. I don't know 46.5 megabits per second. It's okay. Data rate. I mean, you get a lot higher now. Got the next one here. So you can't forward and then go back or go back now that you've gone forward. Like it's totally locked up on you.
Yeah, this one
That's
is, yeah. Some of the
fine.
other assignments you can, but
Yeah, that's I get that. All right, that did upload. Um, weight of the crate is all right. 2 perpendicular forces act on a ring, end of the chain that passes over pulley and holds a crate. What's the weight of the crate? If the horizontal force pulls at 44 pounds and the vertical force pulls at 47 pounds. All right. So the tension in the pulley equals the mg in the crate down here. So the idea, I guess, is that you need to um, this T has both a Ty and a Tx component. Have you seen this at all before? Or is this totally new for you?
um,
It's kind of physics. It's kind of
actually, I don't think we've seen this one.
okay. And then this might be one of those things where you actually do, maybe send an email to your instructor and say, hey, what's going on here?
Yeah.
This is very different uh, than the
The
assignment
homework, yeah.
because how are you supposed to know? I mean, not
Yeah,
everyone's going out and getting outside help, like you're doing, which is the
right.
smart thing to do because you need to get your help
Believe
here.
me, yeah.
I get
Especially
it.
online classes, it's yeah, you don't, it's all on you pretty much.
That's exactly right. So oddly enough, this is a law of sines problem, which I don't quite understand why that is. Oh, okay. Well, no, I take that back. That's a different problem. So they're just asking you to determine the resultant vector from going down 47 and write 44. They're calling that t.
Mhm.
So essentially it's the hypotenuse of the triangle. It's 44 squared plus 47 squared equals t squared. So the tension, which is equal to the weight of the cable, this mg, is the square root of 44 squared plus 47 squared, like that. There's a bit more involved in the physics. You got what's going on with the pulley's massless, blah blah blah. But this is the calculation. So grab your calculator and please double check me. I do
Yeah.
make mistakes, and I don't want to be you to think that I. So here's 10th. There it is.
Yeah, that's what I got.
I'm uploading.
See, this is another one. We haven't went over this one either.
There it is. It's percent error. Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm talking about. They're supposed to be drawing from a bunch of questions. And then, like you're seeing here, they don't. So the percent error is the actual minus the true absolute value over the true. All right. So it's saying it's determined to be as 2080, but it's correctly found to be 2180. So that's the actual, and that's the true. So it's 2080 minus 2180 absolute value over 2180. And then you multiply your answer by 100, get to the percent there.
One decimal place is 4.6. Oh, that's what I got.
There we go. Got another picture here. Loading now. The wall is 10 centimeters thick at the outside, temperature is 1 degrees, and on the inside it's 20 degrees. If the temperature changes as a constant rate through the wall, write an equation of the temperature, the thickness of the wall, as a function of the distance x from outside to a point inside the wall. What is the meaning of the slope of the line? Okay, so you have to come up with two ordered pairs. The first ordered pair is and you got to know whether it's thickness leads to temperature, or is it temperature leads to thickness? Basically, like which is the input?
Mhm.
And they're telling you that P of x is the output. So that's why this is the correct one. This is like your y and this is your x. So you need two ordered pairs. So at zero thickness, when you're outside the wall, it's 1 degree. And when it's 10 thickness, that's 20 degrees. Okay, so you have to be able to come up with those on your own here. The next thing to do is to determine the slope. Y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. 20 minus 1 over 10 minus 0 is 19 over 10, or that says simplified fraction. So let's just use 19 over 10 for the moment, okay?
Okay.
And we're writing the equation. We're writing the equation y equals mx plus b, because it says it's a constant rate through the wall. Let me write that here. Y equals mx plus b. Y equals 19 over 10x plus b. To find b, you have to use one of these ordered pairs. We're going to use the first one because that actually gives you the b value because it's at 0. That
Okay.
is the intercept. So it's y equals 19 over 10x plus 1. Now, if you're doing this on your own, without any, if you didn't have any guidance,
Mhm.
you'd want to check and make sure, okay, like when I put 10 in here, do I get 20? You do. Okay.
Okay.
So now we have to resolve to the variables they're using. They're using p of x, so x is okay. So this is the part that goes into that first box there. All right, now to choose between A and B really comes down to the variables here. What's the input, what's the output? We already said the input is thickness, the output is temperature. Okay,
Okay.
so the slope tells you about the output. The temperature increases by 19 over 10 degrees C for every 1 centimeter in the distance from the outside edge of the wall. The next one here, uploading. All right, the velocity of an Earth satellite varies directly as the square root of the mass m, and inversely as the square root of the distance r from the center of the Earth. So the setup here is to write the equation. So you have to write, okay, velocity is directly, so that's k square root of m, and inversely square root of r. So the other way this could be written as k square root m over r, like that, if you wanted to combine these. Now, it says if the mass is halved and the distance is doubled, how is the speed affected? So basically, m goes to m divided by 2, and distance r is 2r. When you put these into the thing here. All right, so it looks a little weird first, but it's m over 2 over 2r. And then the way this simplifies is this 2, if you multiply the top and bottom by 2 to clear that, you get square root m over 4r. You can factor out the square root of 1 over 4 like this. And then the square root of 1/4 is 1/2. And that is your answer. Sorry, that's your answer to the second part, that it is halved. The divided by 2 or whatever one of the drop downs are. The answer to the first one, I believe, is this right here. Is probably what I would put in. That makes sense. Got the next one here. It's like some sort of a triangle. Might be like a, I'm not sure what it is. All right, here we go. All right, an airplane flies from city A to city B, distance 150 miles, then turns through an angle of 40 degrees, so that's 40 degrees there, and heads towards city C as shown. If the distance between A and C is 360 miles, how far is it from city B to city C? Okay, so this is there's a lot of science problem. Have you guys talked about that in
Yeah,
class?
yeah, a lot
Okay.
of science, yes.
All right. So this unknown angle is 140 degrees in here. It's probably better to just draw it without all the other stuffs here. So it's 140, 360, 150. And we want
B
uh
to C.
yeah. Now why did it say it's return? Oh, it's return. Okay, so then we got to find that angle there. All right. Yeah. So trying to think if there's any other way we can do this. This is the only way. All right, so the way law of sines work is like we have to think about what we're given. We're given a side and an angle pair, side angle pair like this, okay? And we're given this side. This side goes with this angle right here up at the top, which I don't like that letter, so I'm just gonna switch to letter C. Call this, angle C here. So the way this works is to find C, it's the sine of C over 150 equals sine 140 over 360, like that. All right. And you might wonder, why aren't we finding this first? It's because we can't, because we don't know this angle right here. If we did know this angle, we would find that side first, which it's odd that they would ask you for this out of order, but that's what they've done here. So you clear the 150 from both sides by multiplying both sides by 150. And then it kind of actually goes out in front. So it ends up being sine C equals 150 over 360 sine of 140. And then to undo C, or to get to C, you have to undo sine. That's the sine inverse of 150 over 360 sine 140. So this is the answer to part B. To return to city A, the pilot must turn through an angle of like they've gotten up here to C, they got to turn back.
Mhm.
That's this angle here. So it's an acute angle. It should be fairly small. I'll say it should be like 30 degrees. Um, Go ahead and do this calculation. And it does sit around to 1 decimal place, 15.5. Now, because we're going to reuse this problem, you reuse this angle, another part of the problem, you actually want them to go out more decimal places.
$15.5. Yep.
And so now we can find this angle up here, angle A. To do that, use the fact that 3 angles in the triangle add up to 180. So it's angle A, it's 180 minus 140 minus this 15.5351. Which ends up being 24.4649. And then we can use that to find the side here that we're asked for in part A, from B to C. So I'm going to call that little a. So the way this works is it's little a over the sine of this angle 24.4649 equals, and I always recommend reusing the given information. So a side and an angle. So I recommend that we reuse the L, which is 360 over the sine of 140, because that was given. It's not a calculated value in case you made a mistake on something. So to solve for A, you multiply both sides by that sine. So 360 sine 24.4649 over sine of 140. And so we'll do that calculation. And so I get 231.94. I think it says to 2 decimal places on that one. Yeah. So that's the answer to part A. Part B you already have is the 15.5 there. Multiple choice. Hopefully that goes a little faster. So you actually already know how to do it, as you alluded to it earlier. Um, A, S, B, C. The tangent is negative in the second and the fourth quadrant. And the problem is when you use your calculator, you don't, it just, what it does is it gives you the tan inverse, which is only valid in the first and the fourth. So you wouldn't necessarily know this. That's why you got to know your thing here. So second and fourth. Is the answer.
What is the way that you remember the quadrants? Because obviously I have like a little sheet that I wrote down for
Yeah,
the
so
ASTC. Can you explain that?
yes, sure. I mean, you mean like how to remember these letters or what they mean or
Yeah, like how do you know what when it's negative for tangent
okay.
and stuff
Okay,
like that?
yeah. So A means all positive.
Okay.
Okay. S means that sign is positive, but what that also means, and it's like a light switch, uh, uh like cosine and tangent are negative. So the letter tells you the one that's positive. And then sine and cosine are really the other ones. That's from tangent kind of. So T means tangent's positive, which means that sine and cosine are negative.
Okay.
Similar for C, cosine is positive, sine
Mm, negative.
are negative. Got it. It's uploaded. If I can. Okay, this is solve an inequality thing. All right. Yeah, I didn't use that bad. Actually, a lot of information you don't need. So here we go. All right, so all these words don't matter. To solve the inequality, because it's a less than or equal to, it's a between. So it's less than or equal to negative 0.003, t minus 0.086, less than or equal to positive 0.003. And then you add 0.086 to everything. So 0.083 less than or equal to t, less than or equal to 0.089, like that. So that right, so then the smallest, well, you've got that answer there. That's 0.083, and the largest is 0.0889. Right, so we're really close to being out of time. I can take
Yeah,
a look
that's
at the
fine.
next one here if you'd like. It's really
No,
quick.
I can do it. This
All
one
right.
is pretty simple.
Yeah, I mean, let me just okay, so really quickly here. 5 root 2, 5 root 6. So we need to find C. So you have to square both of these. So this is 50. This is 150. Um, no, sorry, 25 times, yeah, 25 is 150. So C is the square root of 200, which is 10 root 2. So your perimeter is 5 root 6 plus 5 root 2 plus 10 root 2. So it's 5 root 6 plus 15 root 2, like that. All right. That will do it for us for
All
today.
right.
So thank you.